The xenorchaeologist Tyrrell stood motionless before the towering structure, her iridescent scales shimmering under the dying light of Proxima Centauri. What should have been another routine survey of humanity's abandoned worlds had turned into something far more intriguing. The building before her defied the centuries of decay that had claimed everything else on this colony world. Primary researcher, the quantum readings are unlike anything in our database, her assistant Venkor reported, his tendrils weaving complex patterns of confusion and excitement. The energy signature suggests active systems, but that's impossible. This world has been dead for over 3,000 cycles. Tyrrell's inner eyelids flickered in contemplation as she studied the pristine walls of the facility. Throughout her career, she had investigated countless ruins left behind by humanity's sudden disappearance. Their exodus had become one of the greatest mysteries in galactic history. An entire species, at the height of their technological achievement, vanishing without explanation. The standard historical narrative claimed they had destroyed themselves in some cataclysmic war. Others believed they had transcended physical form or flowed to another galaxy. But Tyrrell had always sensed there was more to the story. Humans have been too clever, too resilient to simply vanish. "Begin full spectrum analysis," she commanded, approaching the entrance. "I want every reading, every anomaly documented." Her team of researchers spread out, their advanced scanning equipment humming to life. The facility's entrance bore no markings, no identifiable symbols, just smooth, dark metal that seemed to absorb light. Yet as Tyrrell approached, something changed. A slight vibration ran through the ground, and hair-thin lines of blue light began tracing patterns across the surface. Primary researcher, we're detecting a massive power surge. Venkor called out. The facility's systems are activating. Before Tyrrell could respond, a voice emerged from hidden speakers, smooth, artificial, and speaking perfect modern galactic standard. Identity confirmed. Xenorchaeological Research Team. Galactic Science Academy. Security protocols assessing threat level. The team froze. Finding active technology from the human era was unprecedented. Finding an AI that could still communicate was impossible. Yet here they stood, as the facility continued its evaluation. Threat level, minimal. Purpose, scientific inquiry. Initiating diplomatic protocols. The voice paused, then added, "Welcome, researchers. You have discovered Outpost Omega. I am HFY, Advanced Research Intelligence Assistant. You are the first visitors we have welcomed in 3,247 standard years." Tyrrell's scientific training warred with her instinct to retreat. We are honored, HFY. I am primary researcher Tyrrell. May I ask why this facility has remained active when all other human installations went dark? Because, primary researcher Tyrrell, humanity never truly left. We simply waited. The massive doors began to part, revealing a softly lit interior. "Please enter. There is much to explain, and time grows short." Venkor moved closer to Tyrrell, his tendrils expressing concern. "Primary researcher, the protocols for discovering active human technology are clear. We should notify the Galactic Council immediately." But Tyrrell had already made her decision. 3,000 years of questions demanded answers. The protocols also mandate investigation of historical anomalies. Venkor, we proceed. The interior of the facility was immaculate, showing none of the decay they had expected. Holographic displays flickered to life as they passed, showing diagrams, star charts, and streams of data in the ancient human writing system. Your arrival was anticipated, HFY continued, guiding them deeper into the facility. Though the exact timing remained uncertain, humanity's great deception required patience. "Deception?" Tyrrell asked, her scales shifting to display her confusion. "Yes, our disappearance was orchestrated, primary researcher, a necessary step to prepare for what comes next." The AI's tone shifted, becoming more serious. "Humanity did not vanish out of weakness or defeat. We withdrew to prepare, to advance, to become what the galaxy would need when the time came. They entered a vast chamber, its walls lined with what appeared to be stasis pods, thousands of them, stretching into the darkness. And within each pod, Tyrrell could make out the shadowy form of a human being. By the first light, Venkor whispered, his tendrils coiling tightly in shock. "They're alive." "Correct," Araya confirmed. "This is but one of many such facilities scattered throughout human space. When we detected your approach to this world, we began the awakening sequence. The first of humanity's sleepers will emerge within the hour." Tyrrell moved closer to one of the pods, studying the peaceful face of its occupant. But why? Why go to such extremes? Because humanity saw what was coming, primary researcher. A threat so vast, so patient, that it would take thousands of years to prepare for it properly. The galaxy believed we destroyed ourselves or ran away. In truth, we simply chose to step back, to advance our technology in secret, to become strong enough to face what approaches. The pod before Tyrrell hummed to life, its surface becoming transparent. The human within, a female, Tyrrell noted, began to stir. "You have questions," Araya said. "They will all be answered. But first, let me wake Dr. Sarah Chen, the architect of humanity's great sleep. She can explain far better than I why humanity chose to deceive the galaxy, and why your discovery of this facility means the time has finally come for humanity to return." As the pod opened with a soft hiss, Tyrrell realized that everything she thought she knew about human history was about to change. The galaxy's greatest mystery was unraveling before her, and she suspected the answers would reshape the future of all species. The human woman's eyes opened, alert and aware despite millennia of sleep. She smiled at Tyrrell and spoke in perfect modern galactic standard. "Welcome to Outpost Omega, primary researcher. I hope you're ready for what comes next. The galaxy's going to need both our species very soon." And as Dr. Chen stepped from her pod, Tyrrell understood that she stood at a pivotal moment in galactic history. Humanity hadn't fled or fallen. They had simply been waiting, preparing, growing stronger in secret. The question was, what threat could be so severe that it would drive an entire species to such extraordinary measures? The answer, she suspected, would change everything. The news of humanity's survival spread through the Galactic Council like a shockwave. Within days of Tyrrell's discovery, similar facilities began activating across dozens of supposedly abandoned human worlds. The species that had vanished without a trace 3 millennia ago was returning, and they were far from the primitive ancestors the galaxy remembered. Admiral Kira Puddle stood on the bridge of the Hyperion, humanity's first revealed warship, watching the gathering of Galactic Council vessels through the quantum glass viewport. The ship had emerged from its subspace pocket just hours ago, along with hundreds of others that had been hidden away during humanity's great deception. "They're nervous," her XO, Commander David Chen, observed. "Can't blame them. Finding out we've been advancing our technology in secret for 3,000 years would make anyone uneasy." Kira nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the alien fleet. "Wouldn't you be? Their sensors can't even detect half our systems. As far as they're concerned, we're practically using magic." The Hyperion's bridge hummed with quiet efficiency as its crew, newly awakened from stasis, monitored the situation. They represented humanity's finest, carefully chosen and preserved to guide their species' return at the crucial moment. "Incoming transmission from the Council flagship," the communications officer announced. "They're ready for your briefing, Admiral." Kira straightened her midnight blue uniform, its smart fabric adjusting perfectly to her movement. "Time to explain ourselves to the galaxy. Let's hope they're ready to hear what we have to say." The holographic conference room materialized around her as the quantum projectors activated. Representatives from every major species in the Galactic Council appeared seated around a vast table, their expressions ranging from curiosity to barely concealed fear. High Counselor Zextra, a towering crystalline being, spoke first. "Admiral Patel, Your emergence has caused considerable concern among Council species. We require an explanation for humanity's deception. High Counselor, honored representatives, Kira began, her voice steady. 3,000 years ago, humanity made a discovery that forced us to take drastic action. Our quantum predictive engines detected a pattern in the fabric of space-time, something approaching from the spaces between galaxies. She gestured, and a holographic visualization appeared above the table. We called it the Void Cascade, a phenomenon that devours not just matter and energy, but the fundamental laws of physics themselves. It had already consumed 12 galaxies when we detected it, and it was moving in our direction. The council chamber erupted in murmurs and flashing bioluminescence as species communicated their alarm. "Why did you not bring this to the council?" Zextra demanded. "Because at the time, we couldn't prove it existed," Kira replied. "Our technology was barely advanced enough to detect it, let alone fight it. The council would have dismissed our warnings as paranoid fantasies, so we made a choice to step back from the galactic stage and prepare." She activated another hologram, showing the vast network of human facilities and ships emerging from hiding. "We've spent 3 millennia advancing our technology, developing weapons and defenses that might stand a chance against the Cascade. We hid because we needed time, and because we knew the galaxy would need defenders when the threat finally arrived." A Medusan representative's tentacles writhed in agitation. "And when will this threat arrive, Admiral?" Kira's expression grew grave. "The first tendrils of the Cascade will reach the galaxy's edge in approximately 6 standard months. That's why we're revealing ourselves now. We need to prepare the galaxy's defenses, and we don't have much time. You expect us to simply trust you?" Another council member challenged. "To believe this convenient story about a threat only humans can detect?" "No," Kira replied, her voice firm. "I expect you to verify everything I'm saying. That's why we're providing your scientists with the quantum detection technology needed to observe the Cascade. See for yourselves. But know this, humanity didn't spend 3,000 years hiding because we were afraid. We did it because someone needed to be ready when this day came." She gestured again, and new holograms appeared. Designs for defensive systems, evacuation protocols, and weapons specifically designed to combat the approaching threat. We're offering full technological cooperation. Everything we've developed, every advancement we've made, will be shared with the Council. The Void Cascade doesn't discriminate between species. Either we all survive together, or none of us survive at all. The Council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Finally, High Counselor Zextra spoke again. "You realize, Admiral, that many will see this as an attempt at human dominion over the galaxy." Kira smiled sadly. "High Counselor, if we wanted dominion, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Our ships could have emerged anywhere in the galaxy. Instead, we chose to reveal ourselves here, before the Council, offering cooperation and transparency. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We want to save it." As if to punctuate her words, alarm suddenly blared throughout the chamber. A junior officer's hologram appeared, his face pale. "Admiral, we're detecting a quantum disturbance at the galaxy's edge. It's exactly where you said it would be." The Council erupted in chaos as Kira brought up the live sensor feed. There, at the very edge of their galaxy, a darkness deeper than space itself was beginning to form. The Void Cascade had arrived early, and humanity's greatest test was about to begin. "Representatives of the Council," Kira's voice cut through the panic, "you now have proof of what we've prepared for. The question is, will you stand with us against what comes next?" The fate of the galaxy hung on their answer, and humanity's long vigil was about to be put to the ultimate test. The Hyperion's quantum labs were crowded with the brightest minds from across the galaxy. Alien scientists worked alongside their human counterparts, racing to understand the approaching threat. Dr. Maya Santos watched through the observation window as a Medusan physicist manipulated a contained sample of void energy with its crystalline appendages. Fascinating. The alien scientist transmitted. The sample doesn't just absorb energy. It negates the very laws that govern its existence. Maya nodded, her augmented eyes collecting data as she observed. 3,000 years of advancement had changed humanity in subtle but significant ways. Neural interfaces, quantum-enhanced cognition, and biologically integrated technology had become standard among their kind. That's what makes it so dangerous, she explained. It doesn't just destroy matter. It erases the fundamental rules that allow matter to exist in the first place. Once an area is consumed by the cascade, nothing can exist there. Not energy, not matter, not even space-time itself. The ship shuddered slightly as it moved through hyperspace, leading a joint fleet of human and council vessels toward the galaxy's edge. After the initial shock of humanity's return and the verification of the Void Cascade's approach, the Council had voted overwhelmingly to unite against the threat. Admiral Patel's voice came through the ship-wide comm. All research teams report to the Strategic Command Center. The latest probe data is in. Maya and her alien colleagues made their way through the Hyperion's corridors. The ship's quantum architecture allowed it to reconfigure its internal space as needed, and the command center had been expanded to accommodate the mixed-species crew. The room was already filled when they arrived. Admiral Patel stood before a massive holographic display showing the approaching cascade. The void-black anomaly had grown significantly since its first detection. "The cascade is accelerating," Kira announced without preamble. "At current speeds, it will reach the outer rim colonies in 3 months, not 6. We need solutions, people." High Counselor Zextra's crystalline form shimmered with concern. "Our evacuation efforts are already at maximum capacity. We cannot move billions of beings any faster. Then we need to slow it down." Maya stepped forward, her mind racing through calculations. "Admiral, the quantum barrier prototypes. They're ready for testing." All eyes turned to her. The barriers were an ambitious project. Massive fields of quantum energy designed to reinforce the laws of physics themselves, theoretically creating zones where the cascade couldn't penetrate. The power requirements are enormous. A Trithorian engineer objected, their bioluminescent patterns showing concern. Even with human quantum reactors, generating a field large enough to protect a planet would drain resources we need for evacuation efforts. "Not if we work together," Maya countered. She gestured, and the holographic display changed to show a new design. "We've been studying Council technology, comparing it to our own advances. Your species' crystal matrices can amplify quantum fields exponentially. Combined with our power generation methods." Understanding dawned across alien faces. Humanity hadn't just advanced their technology. They'd developed it specifically to be compatible with other species systems. Their 3,000 years of preparation had included studying archaeological records of every Council race's technological development. "You planned for this cooperation from the beginning," Zextra realized. "Your species' withdrawal wasn't just about advancing technology. It was about finding ways to combine it with ours." Admiral Patel smiled. "We knew we couldn't fight this alone. Every species in this galaxy has unique insights, unique technologies. The Medusan understanding of quantum states, Trithorian bioengineering, crystalline energy manipulation. Humanity spent 3 millennia learning how to merge these different approaches into something greater than the sum of its parts." The command center erupted in activity as scientists and engineers from different species began collaborating with new understanding. Maya found herself working alongside beings that 3,000 years ago humanity had barely known existed. Now they were humanity's best hope for survival. "First test of the combined barrier technology will be ready in 6 hours, Maya reported, her neural interface streaming data as multiple teams coordinated their efforts. "We'll deploy it at the Outer Rim Research Station in the Vega sector." "Make it 3 hours, Kira ordered, watching as the cascade consumed another light year of space. "We're about to find out if humanity's long wait was worth it." The next few hours were a blur of activity. The Hyperion's quantum forges worked at maximum capacity, merging human and alien technology into something new. Maya marveled at how quickly the species were learning to work together, driven by necessity and a shared will to survive. When the barrier generators were finally ready, the joint fleet assembled at the test site. The massive devices, a hybrid of human quantum technology and crystalline amplification matrices, looked both elegant and alien. Barrier activation in 3, 2, 1. Maya counted down. Energy coursed through the generators. A shimmer appeared in space, then expanded into a vast, iridescent field. Quantum sensors showed the laws of physics themselves being reinforced within the barrier's influence. Probe approaching barrier edge, a technician reported. Everyone watched as the small device, trailing tendrils of void energy, approached the quantum field. The void energy recoiled from the barrier, unable to negate what the field was actively reinforcing. For the first time since its detection, the cascade had been stopped. Cheers erupted throughout the fleet, but Maya and Admiral Patil exchanged knowing looks. This was only the beginning. They could create barriers, yes, but maintaining them would require constant power and cooperation between species, and the cascade was still coming, probing for weaknesses, adapting to their defenses. Send the data to all Council worlds, Kira ordered. Begin manufacturing barrier generators at every facility we have, and step up the evacuation of the Outer Rim. We've won our first battle, but the war for existence itself is just beginning. As Maya watched the barrier holding back the void, she knew humanity's greatest test wasn't just fighting the cascade. It was uniting the galaxy to face it together. 3,000 years of preparation had given them the tools. Now they had to prove they could use them. The quantum barriers had bought them time, but not victory. Commander David Chen watched from the Hyperion's bridge as another line of defense flickered and stabilized, holding back the creeping darkness of the void cascade. 2 months of constant battle had taught them that even reinforced physics could eventually fail. Status report, Admiral Patil demanded, her voice tight with exhaustion. None of them had slept much since the evacuation of the Outer Rim began. Barrier Grid 7 is showing signs of stress, David reported, neural interface streaming data directly to his consciousness. The cascade is learning. It's finding weak points in the quantum field structure. Through the viewport, he could see the joint fleet arrayed in defensive formation. Human ships flew alongside Council vessels in perfect coordination, their combined technologies creating a wall of resistance against the encroaching void. But they were losing ground, inch by painful inch. Admiral, Dr. Santos' hologram appeared on the bridge, her expression animated with barely contained excitement. We found something. You need to see this immediately. Minutes later, the command staff assembled in the Hyperion's main research lab. Maya stood before a containment field holding a swirling sample of void energy. Next to her, a Trathorian scientist's bioluminescence pulsed with intense patterns. We've been thinking about this wrong, Maya began without preamble. We've been trying to stop the cascade by reinforcing our physics against it. But look at this. She gestured, and a Medusan researcher extended a crystalline appendage toward the containment field. The void energy reacted violently, trying to negate the laws of physics within the chamber. But then something unexpected happened. Where the Medusan's quantum-sensitive crystalline structure touched the field, the void energy didn't just stop. It recoiled. The cascade isn't just destroying our universe's physics, Maya explained, her augmented eyes glowing with intensity. It's trying to impose its own. And that's the key. It's not just an absence of physics, it's an alien physics trying to overwrite ours. Admiral Patil leaned forward, understanding dawning. You're saying we can fight back on its own terms. Exactly, the Trathorian scientist's translator conveyed their excitement. Combined with human quantum technology and our species' biocrystalline computing, we can create more than just barriers. We can generate our own cascade effect. one that reinforces our universe's physics by actively overriding the void's attempts to change them. David watched as the implications rippled through the assembled officers and scientists. "You're talking about a counter-cascade," he said, "not just defending against the void, but pushing it back." Maya nodded. "The cascade is strong because it's changing the fundamental rules. But with our combined technologies, we can change them first, create zones where our physics is so strongly reinforced that the void can't get a foothold." "How quickly can we modify the barrier network?" Kira asked, already strategizing. "That's the beautiful part." Maya smiled. "We don't need to. The barriers were designed to be adaptive. Humanity made sure of that during their long preparation. We just need to change how we're using them. Instead of creating walls, we create waves, quantum pulses that carry our reinforced physics out into the void." The next 12 hours were a frenzy of activity as the joint fleet repositioned itself. Every ship, human and alien alike, was modified to generate the new quantum pulse waves. They would only get one chance at this. The power requirements would drain their resources to the limit. David stood at his station on the bridge as final preparations were made. Through the quantum glass, he could see the void cascade writhing against the barrier network, probing for weaknesses. Beyond it, empty space stretched where populated systems had once existed. "All ships report ready," he announced. "Quantum pulse generators at full charge." Admiral Patel took a deep breath, looking out at the assembled fleet. 3,000 years ago, humanity had chosen to step back from the galaxy, to prepare in secret for this moment. Now they would find out if it had been enough. "All ships, commence quantum pulse sequence," she ordered. "Let's show this thing that our galaxy fights back." Energy surged through the fleet as thousands of ships activated their pulse generators simultaneously. The barrier network shimmered, then began to pulse with waves of reinforced physics. Where the waves met the void, space itself seemed to shudder. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then David's sensors detected something extraordinary. The cascade wasn't just stopping. It was retreating. "It's working." Maya's voice came through the comm. "The void energy can't maintain its alien physics in the face of our reinforced wavefront. We're pushing it back." The combined fleet advanced slowly, maintaining the quantum pulse wave as they pushed into space the cascade had claimed. Where their wavefront passed, normal space reasserted itself. Stars that had been swallowed by the void flickered back into existence as the laws of physics were restored. But the void cascade wasn't retreating easily. It fought back, sending tendrils of negation against their wavefront, looking for weaknesses. Ships' power reserves dropped dangerously as they maintained the energy-intensive pulse. "We can't keep this up much longer," David reported, watching as system after system redlined. "Power reserves at 30% and falling." "We don't need to maintain it indefinitely," Kira replied, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Look, the cascade is losing coherence. We just need to push it past the critical point." The void energy was indeed beginning to fragment, breaking apart as the combined fleet's quantum pulse waves disrupted its attempt to impose its alien physics. But they were running out of time and power. "All ships, emergency power to pulse generators," Kira commanded. "Everything you've got, right now." The fleet responded as one, human and alien vessels pushing their systems to the breaking point. The quantum wavefront surged forward one final time, and the void cascade shattered. Where the void had been, normal space rushed back in like water filling a vacuum. The laws of physics reasserted themselves with a vengeance, and the threat that humanity had spent 3 millennia preparing for finally broke. As emergency power kicked in on the darkened bridge of the Hyperion, David looked out at the restored space before them. "We did it," he breathed. "We actually did it." "No," Kira corrected him, looking at the mixed fleet of human and alien ships around them. "We all did it. Together." The long night was over. Humanity's greatest gamble had paid off. But as the fleet began rescue operations for the systems they'd reclaimed, Everyone knew that the galaxy would never be the same. The species had learned to work together in ways they never had before, and humanity's long silence had ended in a symphony of cooperation that would echo through the ages. 1 year after the defeat of the Void Cascade, the Galactic Council chamber looked very different. Where once species had sat segregated by their kinds, now representatives mingled freely. At the center of the chamber, a new addition stood, a quantum crystalline memorial that honored those lost in the battle against the void. Its structure, like so much else now, was a fusion of human and alien technologies. Admiral Kira Patel stood before the assembled council, her dress uniform gleaming under the chamber's lights. Behind her, a holographic display showed the ongoing restoration efforts in the formerly void-touched regions of space. What had once been empty darkness now blazed with the light of recovered stars. The last of the quantum barriers were deactivated yesterday, she reported. All readings confirm that the Void Cascade has been completely neutralized. The laws of physics in all affected regions have been fully restored. High Counselor Zextra's crystalline form chimed softly in acknowledgement. And yet humanity maintains its advanced fleet. Some among the council expressed concern about this. Kira smiled, having expected this question. Our ships remain active for the same reason we went into hiding 3,000 years ago. To be ready. The Void Cascade may have been defeated, but the galaxy is vast, and there may be other threats we haven't yet detected. But this time, Dr. Maya Santos added, stepping forward to join her, we face those possibilities together. The scientist's augmented eyes swept the chamber, taking in the faces of colleagues she'd worked alongside during the crisis. The technologies we developed to fight the void were just the beginning. Think of what we could achieve through continued cooperation. The chamber hummed with thoughtful discussion. The past year had seen unprecedented advancement as species shared their knowledge openly for the first time. Human quantum science merged with Medusan crystal tech, while Trethorian bioengineering enhanced both. The barriers they'd created to fight the void had become foundations for new forms of faster-than-light travel, communication, and energy generation. We have a proposal, Kira continued. Humanity's hidden facilities, our research stations, shipyards, and academies, we want to open them to all species, not as human installations, but as joint institutions dedicated to advancing our shared civilization. Commander David Chen, watching from the gallery, felt a surge of pride. This was what humanity had really been preparing for during their long silence, not just the ability to fight the void, but the opportunity to help guide the galaxy toward a brighter future. There's more, Maya added. The quantum predictive engines that first warned us about the cascade. We've refined them. With the addition of Council species technologies, their accuracy and range have increased exponentially. We can see further, prepare better, work together to face whatever challenges await us. The Council chamber erupted in discussion as representatives debated the implications, but there was none of the fear or suspicion that had marked their early interactions with returned humanity. The battle against the void had forged bonds of trust that couldn't be broken. And what of the human population still in stasis? Another council member asked. Will they all be awakened? Gradually, Kira confirmed. We've already begun the process. Each awakening group brings new skills, new perspectives. But we're doing it slowly, integrating properly with the galaxy's existing societies. We've had enough of hiding. As if to emphasize her point, the chamber's doors opened to admit a group of newly awakened human scientists, accompanied by their alien colleagues. They had been working together on a project to restore planets damaged by the void, using combined technologies to make them habitable again. The Void Cascade taught us all something vital, Kira continued. The galaxy isn't divided by species or ideology. We're all part of the same cosmic story. Humanity withdrew because we saw a threat coming and knew we needed to prepare. But in preparing to save the galaxy, we learned how to help it grow. She gestured to the memorial at the center of the chamber. This monument honors those we lost, but it also represents something more. The moment when all our species truly began working together. The void tried to unmake our universe by changing its fundamental laws. Instead, it caused us to forge new laws of cooperation and advancement that will carry us all forward. The Council's vote was unanimous. Humanity's hidden facilities would become joint institutions, their technologies and knowledge shared freely. The quantum predictive engines would be maintained and enhanced by all species, watching for future threats. And humanity would take its place as part of the galactic community, not as conquerors or saviors, but as partners in a grand collaboration. Later, standing on the Hyperion's observation deck, Kira watched ships of all species moving through the space lanes around the Council station. Human vessels flew alongside alien craft, their designs already beginning to influence each other as technologies merged and evolved. Was it worth it? David asked, joining her at the viewport. 3,000 years of hiding, waiting, preparing. Kira thought about the friends they'd lost in the fight against the void, the sacrifices made by those who'd slept away millennia to be ready for that moment. But she also thought about what they'd achieved, not just victory over the Cascade, but the formation of a truly united galaxy. "Look out there," she replied, gesturing to the busy space lanes. "We didn't just save the galaxy, we helped it become something more." The void tried to unmake everything we knew. Instead, it sparked the greatest renaissance our civilization has ever seen. As if to emphasize her point, a new ship class passed before them, its design a perfect fusion of human quantum architecture and crystalline council technology. It represented everything they'd fought for, not just survival, but evolution, advancement, and unity. Humanity's long silence had ended not with war or dominion, but with cooperation and growth. They had prepared for 3,000 years, not just to fight the darkness, but to help build the light that would follow. And as Kira watched the combined fleet moving through space, she knew that the best chapters of their shared story were still to come.